the wacky stuff that happens before the stream. Hey, everybody. Welcome. It's Friday night again.
It's Friday night. It's Gangstagrass in the house.
What up, y'all?
Cha-cha-cha-cha. Yes, December 3rd. And, we've been putting out some Christmas music, huh?
Yes, we have.
And it's so good.
Yeah, that's what it was doing.
Oh, that's what I was. I thought it was like, did it fall and you just not pick it up?
It was leaning and it just decided, nah, I'm good. This is my life right now. My lamp was just like, see, these are the kinds of things that I need though. Like I need these kind of reminders that I'm not as cool as people might think I am and shit.
Get us something.
And they be like, yo, you doing the thing, you doing it big time. Yeah, you big time, all the time, blah, blah. Nah, nigga, I got broken lamps in my house. I got it. I'm gonna just hold it up with my foot.
Well, luckily we had the green screen effect, so none of us actually saw the lamp. We just saw you duck out of the way of it.
No, it was sliding back the other way, and I'm just trying to make sure it doesn't destroy everything else because it's up against all my mugs and stuff. But this, like I said, man, this is the kind of stuff I need. This keeps me humble. This is like, you know what, dog? Your lamp is broken. Stop fronting. Stop fronting. You are not as ill as you think.
Don't need a lamp or something to just fall down on us every now and then.
Right.
Yo, you know what Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Nah, it's like in Black Dynamite when they had the boom come in.
Yeah, dude, exactly. It's exactly what that's like, dude.
Yeah. I was going to say it reminds me of Alpha House, which if anybody hasn't seen the TV show Alpha House on Amazon Prime, it's totally worth watching. Created by Gary Trudeau, who created Doonesbury. Yep.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Starring John Goodman and some other excellent people, Clark Johnson. Very funny. It's one of those things where when they made it, it was like, oh, this is a hilarious, like, outlandish parody of what's going on. And now it's like, that's kind of mild compared to what's happening now.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Like Idiocracy?
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
I was going to say, like,
sorta.
Veep.
I have not seen Veep because what's-her-name is so irritating. Like, that
Ooh,
voice.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus?
I just cannot.
I have loved Julia Louis-Dreyfus since I was a wee boy. When I saw she was on Saturday Night Live, and I was like, "Oh, who's this sexy brunette?" Love her to death. Yo, I'm hating on this right now. Yeah, she was on SNL back in the day, bro. Plastic Warritos bottles. You can't even see that. Like I mean, I know it existed for a while.
Yeah, that's not.
But
okay.
I have a problem with them.
That's not okay.
It's not okay.
That doesn't seem like the Jarritos experience.
No, those are the bootleg joints. Those aren't even the Jarritos. Those are Jarritos.
Yeah, exactly.
Doritos. Oh yeah, we got that.
You got some of them Doritos. Yeah, that's all that is. If it's not glass, I feel like they lying.
That's not as weird to me as the Snapple bottles, though. Those plastic Snapple bottles, because they look like the glass bottles.
All right, so let me tell you about Snapple bottles, right?
You want to talk about Snapple bottles? Let me tell you about Snapple bottles.
Yo, listen,
What's up, everybody's Gangstagrass.
My pops was like this.
Go ahead,
like
man,
a
sorry.
Snapple weirdo, and he would buy like 5 cases of Diet Snapple and just have them in the crib chilling. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Why are you? Jesus Christ. Yo, and so there would be like cases of Diet Snapple just chilling in my crib, and they went to the hospital, right? And and they were just sitting there forever. I'm like, what am I going to do with these old Diet Snapples? I finally just poured them out and got rid of them, but they were there forever. But nothing ever changed. Like nothing happened to them. They didn't. I wanted them to break down or something. Nothing. They just stayed exactly the same.
You can bet something broke down because the aspartame starts to break down into formaldehyde if it's like hanging out in a in a bottle.
It breaks down into formaldehyde?
It's pretty bad.
Wow. I didn't know that aspartame turned into formaldehyde. What in the...
Aspartame might get kind of a bad rap. Not on the level of MSG bad rap, but I don't know.
It crosses the blood-brain barrier. It was discovered by a pharmaceutical company as a pharmaceutical, and then they realized secondarily, oh wait, it's really sweet.
Oh, this tastes like whose job was that?
No, what happened was they were handling it. handling, and the guy just put his fingers in his mouth by accident, and he's like, "Hey."
No.
Yeah.
See,
It should have been somebody's job to say, "Nah, no, dude."
Yeah. He should have lost his job. If you don't know better than to put your fingers in your mouth in random chemical place after you touch random ass chemical and get lucky enough to realize, oh, this tastes sweet and didn't, dissolve my tongue. Yeah, you don't deserve. Nope. I'm taking your name tag.
I go straight to Asper Wild.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Nice. They should have took his name tag. That was ridiculous. Ridiculous. Yeah, we need to get all this out of the. Oh, are we back on Facebook finally?
Yeah.
Hooray!
What's up, Facebook folks? What's up, YouTube folks? What's up, Twitch folks? People are adoring us tonight. Amy Garrison Solis in the Facebook says, "I just got turned on to you guys and I adore y'all." And Chara Thorson in the YouTube says, "I adore you" with a heart.
Oh,
Everybody's on that vibe tonight. But XTFR84 says she likes the Christmas song, which could be one of two songs that we released recently, which we should talk about for a minute.
which
Gangstagrass putting out Christmas songs is a new phenomenon.
one is our favorite?
Oh, which one is Santa's
I don't know
favorite?
which one is our. Yeah. Swing and connect. All right.
Team. That was a team. That was a team effort right there.
We're working on a Yule log though. Shh! Don't tell nobody.
Yeah.
Well, you just told everybody.
Gangstagrass
Yeah.
Yule log. Well,
My bad.
we can keep it between us.
Yeah.
So a week ago, we released Hardly Stand the Wait, the Chipmunk song.
Yeah, we did.
Which we went into the studio. The whole thing is created by us. It's not a sample of the Chipmunks. It's us singing and then sped up to sound like the Chipmunks to do Hardly Wait. That was pretty fun.
Yeah. That was fun. Glad that we did it that way. It opens some stuff up for the like the alternate takes, the B takes, because we're actually singing it. Like that's not like, I don't know, original Chipmunks deleted blooper scenes or something. Like that was actually us doing that.
That's why it sounds so good.
That's why it sounds so good.
Yep. And at the end, in the last take, Dan called out, like, do it wacky or something like that, and it just that run that you do at the end, Danjo, is so spectacular.
Yeah, I feel like I was that guy though when you're taking pictures, group pictures, and then you're like, all right, let's do one silly, and then you're like the only one that does a silly thing, and like I thought we were doing silly faces.
Yeah, the rest of us were a little slow on the uptake there. So
All right. No, it was great. It was great.
after the line. And that's out on all the streaming services right now. So anybody with a holiday playlist, look up Gangstagrass Hardly Stand the Wait. Put it on your holiday playlist.
Fun joint, man. It is a fun joint.
Yep. It's on
Yeah,
YouTube.
My kid
All
loves
people
it.
using YouTube.
And then on the other side of the spectrum,
On the other
And
side.
today, brand new release for today, exclusively
brand new.
Bandcamp if you want to buy it, or it also went out for a free download to the Barnstormers. It is an original Christmas song that we wrote, and this is what happens when I try to start writing a new holiday classic. It takes a hard left turn and gets snarky, and the next thing you know, it's not safe for kids. But
I mean,
we tell the
I think it depends on how you treat your kids.
yeah,
And
my
it's
parents can handle it. But that's everybody's going to decide. Hey,
Hey!
yes, Molly Bombs win from
What's
Yeah.
up?
and bassist, composer, singer, activist, organizer, very cool person and I have been honored to be joining us tonight on the Gangstagrass live stream. We were just talking about that Christmas song I wrote about the rich kids getting all the good stuff.
It's so good. I just listened to it.
Yeah, does it remind you of like the Kinks' Father Christmas, Give Us Your Money, or
Oh, that's good.
such Christmas classics as that? You know?
There need to be more communist and communist aware Christmas songs, in my opinion. So
Word.
power to you.
Word.
Can you pronounce your last name for me?
Yeah, Obamsawin.
Okay, that's exactly what I thought. I just didn't
Yeah,
wanna
it's
mess it up.
pretty. Yeah, you got it.
Like, I can imagine that you get a lot of different pronunciations of that.
Oh, people love to add syllables and just new sounds, old sounds. Yeah.
What is
it's-
your favorite, other than the correct pronunciation?
Yeah, that's definitely my favorite.
That's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah,
That's
the
really
best one.
But
I not a favorite, but a common one that I get is Obama Swain, because people they're like
yeah.
Obama. We all know who Obama is, and then Swain
And they're
just
flipping the letter.
they're
Yeah.
just doing you know.
That actually reminds me of a mixtape by this guy named Philly Swain, where he took on like the Obama persona.
That's where it
You
came.
remember Philly Swain?
I do remember Philly Swain.
Yeah.
You should claim that. Be like, yes, that's my homie. We're doing the next round of Philly Swain mixtapes. You could do that.
Part of the reason I asked is because you'd be surprised, or maybe not surprised, at the number of different spellings and pronunciations of our band name that
Really?
we've gotten over there. What are
Yeah.
some of the best ones?
Well, one is some of them they leave out the middle G and have it Gangstagrass.
Ooh.
Yeah,
So we
Gangstagrass.
kind of like, okay, that's our sort of reggae
That's the ska band.
ska version of Gangstagrass. And there's Gangstagrass, of course.
Of course. Really grammatically correct.
My personal favorite is Gangstagrass.
He was very drunk.
Yeah.
Gangstagrass? What? Okay,
That was
all right.
That was a stretch.
That's a word, I guess. Sure. That's my favorite.
Yeah. I've heard my name mispronounced a bunch of times. Sometimes they just pronounce it in ways that have letters that aren't even in the name.
Not even close.
Right. I'm like, Julio. Okay, I'll take it.
And we can
Yo, this
I'm
is-
like,
vouch for this because occasionally we all have to go in and order food somewhere and give our names for the orders, and then we just
Bro.
yeah. I'm always Chris when I order stuff.
See, that's why Wrench always goes with something easy like robot.
Yeah, robot.
But then
Mm,
occasionally he forgets that he's given the name Robot, and they'll be like,
Yeah.
Robot, is there a robot here?
No, I wasn't used to the like restaurants where they take your name for your order until like 2000 something 6 7, and I was going into this Panera that like I live near a Panera, and I was going in there regularly, and they would ask for your name and they call it out. And I started a game of trying to see how outlandish I could get. And the way to win was have them not call it out. And it was actually hard. And I don't know if it was like a Midwest thing. I was in the Midwest, but like it also just wouldn't phase them. Like they wouldn't like Robot actually was shortened because I tried Robot Overlord a few times.
I remember Robot
Mhm.
Overlord, yeah.
They would just be like type. Okay, Robot Overlord. They wouldn't be like ha. And the final straw that I found that won the game was to tell them my name was Bad Customer.
I can't write that. I can't do it.
Oh my god.
And then would have like waited. And I was like, is my order out? And they're like,
Nope.
customer?
You have good times.
Yeah.
Guess they're not allowed to.
I'm gonna next time I go to Panera, my name's gonna be the Plane.
That's a good one, dude.
That's a serious throwback.
That is a
Youngins are not
that's
gonna
a
get
deep
that
cut. That is a very deep cut. Well done, sir.
Yeah, as you can
Brings
see,
us to
we're,
why
we're,
we've asked
we're
you
lunatics.
tonight.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like anyone that's been a band for as long as you guys have, you just can't get out of this sort of mode of communicating with each other.
No. There's
See?
no.
Get it. You
Yeah.
get it.
I've been a fan of Lula Wiles for quite a while, and it's cool to cross paths now sometimes,
Yeah.
conferences, festivals, whatnot. But I don't even remember what year it was. I was like cruising around YouTube, and some thing came up, and I said that looks like it could be cool, and there's some bluegrassy stuff going on, and then this voice comes on, says, "Mama, I need to come home," and I was like,
No.
I'm sold. This is great.
Wow, yeah, you're always gonna regret the first song that you ever wrote, and that one, like, we get requests for it so much, and I just can't sing it anymore. Like, I did feel that way so much when I was, 17 and wrote that song. Glad it's still a hit.
Robert Plant feels the same way about Led Zeppelin's. I mean,
Exactly.
Led Zeppelin, Stairway to Heaven.
Right.
So, good company, I guess.
Yeah, Stairway to Heaven's amazing one. It's a great record.
Yeah, but he sang it like so many times, and now just doesn't want to do it anymore.
And
Yeah,
every middle schooler who's ever been to a dance knows that song, for eternity, probably.
De La Soul's the same way with me, myself, and I.
Yeah.
They were like I saw them maybe 15 years ago, and for the hook they were singing, "We hate this fucking song."
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
It was, yeah. When I saw them in what 98, 97, something like that, they were doing that still. So they probably don't even perform the song anymore.
Yeah, I would imagine not.
I gotta say though, like the way that an artist, like if you ever get any relative success, and like there's always gonna be those songs that are more successful, no matter whether that's like extremely successful or whatever scale that's on. But I always feel like that says something about an artist, like how they, I don't know, how gracefully they handle that, just like, because there's always going to be people like, you gotta play the hit, man, play the hit, the one I know, and what are you gonna do, I guess.
Do you guys ever turn the audience down on song requests? Do you have any songs like that?
Oh,
Only when they
remember the
asked us to
time
play-
that woman in the
When they
front
asked us
row
to play
was shouting
Freebird.
for Old Town Road?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I could see that.
Yo,
Our
she left.
song.
She
Well,
left. I was like,
you told her she
Wow.
could go.
It's like,
I was
you
like,
know
you
that.
can leave if you want.
That's the, yeah, we were all, no, that's the other black guy.
Mm-hmm.
She went as
Yeah.
far as to write it. She wrote it on her phone, like big font, and then like held it up, like, see, no, maybe you didn't hear me. See, Old Town Road, like play it. And somebody, I don't know, God bless you, I think it was Randy, said like, so just so you know, we're not a jukebox. You don't just like, if you keep asking, it's not gonna just happen.
Like if you request a song that's our song, we can,
Probably do that. We'll probably do.
We'll do
And that
any
was-
one of our songs.
And that was me being nice, because when she held up her phone, it took every bit of energy I had not to snatch her phone.
Yeah, she
She was right there in the front. I was like,
She was super smashly, like she
I'm
was
gonna be
mad
cool
drunk.
about this. I'm not gonna take your phone and throw it in the back of the bar. That would be terrible.
But
Hopefully, although it could have went viral and that would have been kind of cool.
but in the wrong way.
All press is good press.
All press is good press. Look,
I don't know about that.
I would have supported you, Randy. Absolutely. Just
the
saying.
girl from the band that did the thing, that was press. Regardless of it was press.
know what you're
Oh,
talking.
we're not.
None
are
of us
we-
know
we're
what
not-
you're talking
nah,
about, and don't
nah.
remind
I
us
don't think we're.
about
I don't think
it.
we're going
Don't
that way
remind
tonight.
us.
Nope. 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 Nope.
Nope.
Nope.
Nope.
We
Consenting
promise that the
adults.
thing that we are not reminding anyone of will never happen at a Gangstagrass show.
No.
Hey,
no.
exactly.
No. No.
Maybe a B-Star show, but not a Gangstagrass show.
No.
Fortunately enough, you said that when Pharaoh wasn't here.
Right?
Because you know darn well.
Pardon me.
He would have been
Part
like,
of me-
well, and I was like, no, no.
Yep,
Part of me
exactly.
feels like
No.
we've gone on about this for like 3 minutes now and not explained what we're talking about.
No, we're not going to.
We're not
Part
going
of
to.
me feels like it's rude and we should at least give a little context.
Okay, so we when things are safe again, we may go back to giving out cookies.
Oh, right. Yeah. All right.
You know what though? I would take the chance for those cookies.
Yeah, those are some good cookies.
I'll take the chance. I'll be like, all right, I trust because I trust who's making the cookies.
Right.
Therefore, if they come out of Wrench's house,
right, and then you don't have to wash the taste out of your mouth from the cookies.
yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Back on topic.
What topic though?
Let's seed the pot here.
Songs you wrote when you were 17.
Songs you wrote when you were 17.
There you go. Good recall.
We were in a band for a while, riding around, you know, a multiracial band that gets to have a peek in on each other's experiences, you know, mispronouncing our names at the food orders and whatnot. And I'm sure Lula Wiles has also had some interesting growing together on the road, and some great advocacy around Indigenous stuff and having experiences representing in the folk world that is so white.
Y'all know.
Yeah. Mike, you might have something to share with us on that.
I mean, yeah, like I said, we've all been there. I don't know if you have any like leading questions you want to start with.
What is like one of the more surprising elements of the folk world would you say you've experienced?
Surprising elements. Well, I kind of wonder, because my experiences are also somewhat limited to the folk world, so I don't have a ton to compare it with. But I feel our audiences are very expectant, or feel very like entitled to your vulnerability or your like personal space, or just like, I think folkies really want to connect. And that's something that I always was very jarred by, I think, in the folk world. Maybe that's surprising. I don't know, to anyone else, but that's definitely something I've experienced.
We've definitely seen people go after our MC's pants. We've definitely tried to, yes.
But that's not
like, so much
the
folk world. That's not so much the folk world. That's in a broader audience.
That's just folks.
Yeah, the MCs coming from a hip hop background, I think that's maybe more the contrast that they've seen between those worlds. But going for pants, that's just charge it to the game.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, what's
that's your fault for being sexy.
So musically, like you said, your background pretty much is in the folk world. How does your background play into, you know, finding yourself in the, like, is it pretty much just sort of a matter of course, like you're gonna play shows, that's how it goes, or like what's the sort of trajectory been for you getting into music and touring and this whole lifestyle of it?
Yeah, well, I also am a jazz musician, and I got into music mostly from going to my dad's shows, who's also a blues and jazz musician. He plays a lot of bars, you know, so I was like looking up to him at the bar stage and like, you know, rocking. And so, but I also grew up in Maine, in Wabanaki territory, my territory, and in that land, if people aren't super familiar with Maine, there's like a lot of different fiddle and trad music styles that kind of come together there. There's like Quebecois and Cape Breton and Irish, and then some like, I guess, meandering old time music that comes all the way up there, you know. It is the end of the Appalachian Trail up there in Maine, and as well as Wabanaki music, right? And so I grew up sort of around a lot of that stuff, and I think I actually almost accidentally got as involved in folk music as I am now.
That's interesting. How did you get into it? How did you sort of make your start after kind of witnessing your dad?
Yeah, well, as you might be able to imagine, there's not like a lot of uh there's not a lot of like performing opportunities in rural Maine per se, and like, I'm describing all these traditions, which there are a lot that come through, but it's sort of one community that plays that music, I guess, a one music community that, like, if you know some Quebecois tunes, you probably also know some Irish tunes, etc., right? And it all comes through this music camp, or a series of music camps, but mostly Maine Fiddle Camp. And that's how I got into folk music, going there when I was in 8th grade, because all the cool kids were going there, and started playing in fiddle groups, and then went to Berklee College of Music, and those were the people I knew. So, and that's where Lula Wild started.
So many great bands have come out of Berklee College of Music. I mean, no surprise.
A lot of music on Mass Ave, man.
But really.
A lot of terrible bands, too. lest we forget.
I'm glad you said it. I'm really glad you said it. Thank you for saying it.
Like anywhere.
Now, who's got the stones to name one? Come on.
Bad
somebody. Yeah, give me somebody. What you got?
All right. There's a great band called Brass Against, actually, that we could talk about. Not that they're a bad band necessarily, but no. Moving on.
Wow.
The thing we're not going to talk about.
You should know that
As bad
Danjo
as
went
bad
to
as
Bard.
in naughty, not as in bad in music.
Oh yeah, no, they. Yeah. So that resonates a lot with my experience too. What you're talking about, growing up, watching your dad, like that was how I got into bluegrass. Was my dad just had like this, kick around band that like they would get together at each other's houses, and not even necessarily gig, but like once in a blue moon they would play out, but just playing together, and that was really. And I think DC, people forget that DC, which is where I grew up, DC is sort of on the Appalachian Trail too, and it's, it's right close. It's a city, but it's close to the mountains, and so there's a big bluegrass town, and also just a bunch of influx of music. So that the family element was really big for me too, it's just fascinating hearing you talk about all the different elements that go into your experience. So ending up in your band, like how has that experience been? I know it's something that you've written about a lot, but maybe just to give people like the context, like not everybody in your band is from your territory in Maine, for instance.
Actually, they are.
They are.
Except for one of our drummers, Sean Trishka, was the only person that was not from Maine. He was from New Jersey. But let's see. But not everyone was Wabanaki, right? They're from Wabanaki territory, but not Wabanaki. And that was definitely something that we had talked about a lot, or just, I think, I guess I'll preface what I'm about to say with the fact that Indigenous people, especially Northeastern Indigenous people, are very misunderstood or poorly understood, not understood at all, in terms of like what indigeneity means, what that experience is, what that relationship is with the colonizing nation, the United States of America, right? The fact that we are sovereign nations, right? There's a lot of sort of concepts in here that are, when you start talking about indigeneity or start just like sharing who you are as a person, like you're starting at ground zero communicating. And that was definitely something over years and years, like we had to really work on that. And I had to learn how to educate about that, because obviously, you grew up with your family where there's unspoken things, right?
Yeah, that had been my assumption that they weren't from the same place, but that's really interesting to hear that they are actually from really just, I guess right on top of each other, but still as you say, starting from ground zero and having to really build up that understanding that isn't there, which I guess is probably, I don't know, if that's uniquely the Northeastern Native experience, or if it's just how it is in this country that you live side by side with people, but you don't necessarily have any understanding.
Yeah, I think especially I don't even want to like really like elevate us as, because I think people are just ignorant about Native folks and the history of America, right? But in the Northeast, especially because most people associate natives with this like Western Plains stereotype, right? Like no one pictures indigenous folks in the Northeast, therefore like out of sight, out of mind, out of public consciousness. And so folks don't even know who the Wabanaki tribes are. There are 5 of them: Abenaki, Passamaquoddy, Penobscot, Maliseet, and Mi'kmaq. And that's whose territories you might cross through when you're in so-called New England.
It seems like, and please correct me if I am mistaken here, but it seems like some of that education is kind of getting more attention and more awareness in the folk community. And I base that on the last Folk Alliance conference, where every introduction involved what are the native lands that, you know, that I am on right now. Now, that's a small start, perhaps, but it does seem like maybe some inroads are being made. Have you found that? Does it seem like it's kind of starting to get through to people?
I think so. I mean, I've experienced that sort of uptick in land acknowledgements, or I was applying for a grant today, and one of the first like contact info questions was, whose land are you on? If you don't know, here's how to find out right now. And I was like, hell yeah, that's like a systemic sort of approach to making sure people know that. And so that's great, but like I said, like it is starting from ground zero, so that's like there's so much more.
What else would you want to, what are some things, we have people here watching the stream, what would you want to share with them, and what would you want them to sort of go forth and share with others?
Oh God,
I know it's a big list.
Yes. Yeah, I have such a long list of complaints and
people everywhere. Go.
Right.
In 30 seconds or less.
No, I mean,
make
really,
it quippy.
Take your time, and if there's something you think is maybe a bigger priority that will help kind of clear the way for other learning and acknowledgement and, you know, and progress, that might be helpful to people as well.
Well, I think because we're talking to music fans, I think something that I really feel is important to educate folks about, and I'm learning about it myself, you know, there's like such a deep indigenous history and influence in all American music genres. It goes so deep. It goes to the very beginning, right? And it's part of all of the like beautiful cultural intermixing that created the most amazing art forms here in America, right? And indigenous peoples have been part of all of those genres being created and shaping them in the past and still today. And that is, that's something that I'm inspired by, and I hope everyone can like realize that and become aware of it so you can look out for it. Folks, myself and a lot of other indigenous folks these days are trying to raise a lot of awareness about like those amazing native creators in all the genres.
Any tips and shout outs you want to give on those?
Yeah. Oh my God, so many. Thanks for asking. So let's see. Maybe we start with some more mainstream folks. So let's see, the first woman to ever sing, the first singer, not just woman, but the first singer, the first woman to ever sing for a like over a big band, a jazz big band, Mildred Bailey. She was of Coeur d'Alene descent. So that's like, you think of all the amazing jazz singers like Ella Fitzgerald and Billie Holiday and like all these incredible singers. And the first one to ever do that, like a vocalist for a big band, was Mildred Bailey, Coeur d'Alene. That's out in Washington area, I think. In the Pacific Northwest. And one that I recently learned, Thelonious Monk, was actually Tuscarora. And there's so many folks especially in the jazz tradition, that were both African American and Native, and like they get erased a lot. Their indigeneity gets erased a lot. And I think those stories are really important to uplift too. I could go on, but those are a couple in the jazz tradition that make me really happy.
And I just learned the word indigeneity.
Yeah.
So dope.
Ah. This ties into a question on the Twitch stream that Rusty sent in,
Yes.
which is, what is folk?
What is folk?
Is always the question.
It is always a question.
And points to something that you're kind of hinting at that we've sort of been on the tip for a while, which is that if you look too close, genres are bullshit. So
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure that this band talks about too how genres are often, or genre distinctions are often racialized, right? And so yeah, I won't explain that, but
yeah, we've
No,
definitely.
I'd actually like to hear your take on that.
Well, I think for instance, right, in jazz music, people don't often associate indigenous people with being major players in shaping the tradition, right? Where a lot of the folks who were really groundbreaking, like Monk or Don Cherry or other folks, were indigenous, right? Mildred Bailey, etc. And yeah.
I feel like a lot of it kind of gets muddled because like there is a large amount of intermingling between those of African descent and those of indigenous descent, especially around like the Gulf Coast and the Delta area, and also basically anywhere where there was a large foothold where the numbers were still there.
Yeah, that's right. And a lot of I mean, in the Northeast, we have a lot of stories of I think in Mi'kma'ki, there were actually a lot of the Mi'kmaq territory. There were a lot of communities that were mixed, both Black and Indigenous. And there was also earlier on, I guess, in our experiences with the colonial invasion, a lot of our people, Wabanaki people, were actually kidnapped and trafficked down to the Caribbean and enslaved down there, because when they enslaved us at home, it was too easy for us to escape, right? And so, yeah, those stories are definitely far-reaching.
Messed up.
And that tradition
Always fascinating for me
folk music.
how many different ways they came up with to like enslave people, as opposed to doing all the other stuff that could have gotten done.
Yeah.
Like, you could be doing lots of other things right now than dedicating all of this time to enslaving people. There's a better way to do all of it. Nope. We're gonna keep doing this enslaving.
Well, one could argue because of all the enslaving, they ended up having all this free time.
You right though. Hadn't even thought about it.
They were like, since they're doing all the work, let's come up with all this crazy stuff to do to them.
You right. Hadn't even considered that. Not even considered that.
And that's how you get spats.
We're not standing by that necessarily, but it makes sense.
That is exactly what happened. That's how it happened. Nope.
Spats and ascots. Come on.
Ascots.
No utility whatsoever.
It's a good reminder.
You don't get that without a whole lot of free time and oppression.
Wow.
Gangstagrass show.
Gangstagrass.
Powdered wigs. Come on.
Powdered wigs. That's an excellent point.
But so like I feel like something that we're talking about is just how you're talking about like the colonizer invasion and enslavement and all of these sort of multiple heads of the same hydra, which various people have had to fight against in a variety of ways throughout this nation's history, at least this nation's history, and beyond. But what kind of solidarity have you found in maybe having these conversations with people and maybe finding common themes? I don't know, with other musicians, or just what are some of the connections that you've been able to forge through just getting out there and sort of, helping to tell stories and communicate.
Well, I think that I've done a lot of my processing and sort of like, I guess, processing my like anger and isolation in this scene through writing about it publicly. Maybe that's like a psychological deficit of mine that I like have to do it that way, but it has actually created friendships and community for me that like, folks reaching out from like across the country that I probably wouldn't have met in the scene, right? But that I've ended up becoming collaborators with, and that's been really beautiful. And I guess, it's led to me sort of finding my place, I think, more in this scene that I have felt isolated in or sort of wrong in. I've started playing, figuring out sort of what kind of folk music I want to be a part of, if that makes sense. I've learned, I think there's a lot of like purity tests and sort of like stuff that makes me feel icky, especially in terms of like preserving tradition and like old shit and whatever, right? And then there's folks like amazing folks like Jake Blunt, who with like Spider Tales, for instance, right, where he's like, this is what needs to be looked at again and brought to light, right? And playing with Jake and just like becoming close with Jake has been really amazing and inspired me as like a band leader and a composer myself to start one of my new projects that I'm really excited about, which is kind of like my Wabanaki version of that, and which I maybe wouldn't have thought of if I hadn't like gotten so close and weirded out by those like sort of like white culture versions of it.
How do you mean? I mean that sounds really fascinating.
Sorry, what do you mean? How do I mean?
Just that last sentence about you wouldn't be doing this project, take if you hadn't gotten close to.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. So, I think what I mean, so I went to Berklee College of Music for a year, right? So not long enough to really like get the full thing, but long enough to kind of see what people were doing. And I learned there and since as a professional that, a lot of folks are doing that sort of archival work in Appalachia, in West Virginia, and like finding all these things. There's like, the like what's it called, Slippery Hill, where people go to like learn every possible detail about everything that's ever been recorded from that region, and that all feeling so inaccessible to me, partially because like I'm a bass player most of all, and I'm like like what am I gonna do with this stuff, for one. Two, not being from Appalachia, and I mean like technically, but just like not really identifying with it very much, respecting it for sure, but being like, well, what is my place in this community that I have, and in this experience playing traditional music, although it's like different than Appalachian music or old time or bluegrass or whatever, right? And that's led me to really look at my like what is recorded in my culture. Actually, Wabanaki people were the first people ever recorded on wax cylinders in the 1890s, because we were like up here and they were recording the Passamaquoddies. And so we have some of the oldest songs recorded like that, and going into our archives at Odanak, my reservation, and finding these like amazing recordings of people speaking in the language and singing. And like, so I'm doing a project now where that is the focus. And it's bringing me joy.
Can we hear? Is that something we can hear? Is it online anywhere? Like it, or is there a way to hear it without actually going to Maine to the archives? Maybe not everybody watching will be able to do.
Not yet, but we're recording the album in January, so stay tuned.
Sweet. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have your back on for that.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Wow.
I would love for you to tell the story of the flight where you met that other musician because of who you were sitting next to.
Oh my God. Karen. Well, I don't know how interesting of a story this is, but the outcome was net positive. I was coming back from a tour on Southwest. As people might know, Southwest Musician's Friend airline, they let you sort of choose. It's like first come, first serve or whatever, right? You walk on, and if there's a seat open, you take it. And I always take the middle seat in the first few rows because no one ever sits there for some reason. It was a short flight, like whatever. And so I got on and I sat in the middle, and there was a woman to my left and a person to my right. And we sort of come to realize later in the flight that the person to my right has some speaking disabilities and so communicates with their phone. And the woman to my left is like leaning over the side of into the aisle, taking pictures of the pilots who are Black, and this woman is white, and she's just like unpleasant. And throughout the flight, when I sit down, she sort of like sighs audibly, and she's like, like she's frustrated that I have sat next to her. And basically over the course of the flight, she becomes physically hostile and aggressive toward me and starts like elbowing me and being like, get out of my space. And just like, actually, this really does develop throughout the course of the flight. She like is trying to scrap with me. And I'm just sitting there like, what the is this woman doing? Like this grown ass woman. And I'm just sitting here minding my own business. And then, she also starts being hostile to the person next to me, etc. It was frankly a little bit traumatizing, that whole flight, and I was like trying to keep my cool, and I was like, I think if I complain I probably won't get anywhere, so I'm just gonna. And when I get off this flight, this person that was sitting behind me comes up and is like, yo, are you okay? Like, I saw that whole thing, I can't believe you didn't say anything, like props to you for like being able to hold it together, but I would have definitely like flipped out on this woman, whatever. And his name was Rajuju, and he was like, actually, when she got on, she was like, hell no, I'm not, like audibly, she like looked at him. He was wearing like a headpiece, like a Sikh headpiece, and she was like, hell no, I'm not sitting next to this person, right? So this one was just like obviously racist. Anyway, in the yeah. And when we got out into the airport, so he approached me and we started talking, and it turns out he's a producer, like a hip-hop producer, living pretty close to me in New York, and now we're collaborating.
Nice.
Musically.
I mean,
yeah.
That's the universe right there. It was like, you know what? I did this to you. I made you sit next to this crazy person here.
And he was so like, I don't know, I was pretty shaken up after that flight, and he just like came right in, was like, I got you, are you okay? Like, let's chill, and then beautiful music will be made.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you're a better person than me.
I did
First of all, I wouldn't have been sitting in the middle. That's the first thing.
Yeah, true that.
Nah.
Well, the thing is that you have to understand, we don't get into a lot of that stuff on planes because we are not small people.
Nope. No,
which is why we wouldn't be sitting in the middle.
Nope. So you're a better
usually,
person than me in general.
So, no one would start anything with our son on a plane because there's not enough room for them to run.
I did, like, I felt a little petty about it, but I did, when I was taking my luggage down, I like slammed it into her back. I was like, I'm not gonna get kicked off this flight, we're already here, right? But
since we're about to leave,
yeah.
Well done.
Thank
well
you.
done. That's appropriate violence.
That sucks, though. Really sorry that happened to you.
It was fucked up. It was fucked up.
The opportunity came because of it. So what it was is that something very positive was about to come into your life. So they needed to have a deficit to make room for it.
Hey, I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
It's like potting a new plant. Just like
balance.
a little hole.
It's all about maintaining balance, yo.
And the assholery in the center, exposing to the cool people who each other are.
Right.
Eliminating, like, all right, the asshole in the middle, but from that you can triangulate. All right.
There's something to that. right? Like, and I will say, like, I'm honest. I think I'm more familiar with your writing even than your music. I mean, you're a great writer. You're a terrific writer. I wouldn't chalk that up to a deficit of any kind. I think it's a great way to express yourself, and to, as you say, to like establish those commonalities with people and find people. It's not, not everybody has that ability to condense things into a written piece, and I think a lot of people really benefit from that being there, so that they can then turn to that and say, yeah, that like that, those thoughts, that's what my thoughts are, and somebody said that, because it does seem like there is a greater conversation that has multifacets, and people like Jake, great example, that like you all are able to find each other. Terrific.
Yeah, I think it was really important for me to be able to talk openly about that stuff too, because I felt that within Lula Wiles, being the only person sort of like really pushing these conversations, like it was, like I was the only one, right? And it was like there are certain limitations with that, I guess, is what I'll say. I didn't want to like take up all the space, just being like, okay, nobody else, like I'm just gonna talk about indigenous shit because like y'all hear white shit all the time, like I wouldn't like do that at a show. I take my time, but you know what I'm saying.
But surely it opens the door so that you aren't the only one.
Yeah.
Because sometimes somebody needs to see someone else in order to get that encouragement. Okay, yes, there are others like me.
Or did you feel like you needed to maintain a little quota of white shit to so it didn't get snuffed out?
Sprinkle a little pumpkin spice on it.
Oh my god.
Quota of white shit. That's dumb.
Pumpkin spice, that part really got me.
In Canada, they call creamer, like non-dairy creamer, they call it coffee whitener.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
little whitener.
It's good stuff.
Why we call him coffee?
Yeah, that's why we've been calling him coffee for the past 10 years.
Yeah, it's
some links in the chat, Lula Wiles, and anything else you want us to put on the chat on the Twitch stream, Facebook stream, YouTube stream for folks to follow to see what you're up to.
Yeah, I got a website now. I made my website, and that will have updates about the new project, which is called Sweet Tooth.
Nice.
MollyObamswin.com is the website.
All right, we'll put that in the chat.
Yeah. My Instagram is cornhub_cornhub.
What is that?
I saw
Mother
that.
Corn.
It took me a minute when we first got that message. I was like, wait, it said that Molly wrote us, but all I see is corn. What? So yes.
Because A, I'm a filthy bitch, and B, corn is sacred. So
Several times on this call, I've just been going, where the hell is Brian Farrow for this? Where is he?
That's dope.
He'll have to watch the recap. I'm sorry that you're missing this, Brian Farrow. I'm sorry,
Farrow.
You could have talked to Cornhub, but you missed it.
That's right. And to bring things together, there was a commercial flight just recently that used feedstock for all of its fuel for one of its engines. Just first time an entire fuel source of a commercial aircraft was essentially corn. So
did it make it?
Yes. My understanding is yes. I haven't heard anything more about it, so I trust the answer to that is yes.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I think if it hadn't made it, we'd have all heard about it.
It was coming. It was coming into the airport that I can see from my window, so I feel like I would know if something bad had happened.
This is a great idea, but then
It's a tragedy.
It's a step in the right direction.
Oh, the humanity.
The entire eastern seaboard smells. smells like popcorn.
Popcorn. I mean, think of how pleasant.
I'm
Think of how
sorry.
pleasant.
All that wasted corn.
You know sometimes aircraft do have to they dump fuel in order to like reduce weight or what have you, and you'll like smell jet fuel in the air. And wouldn't it be so much nicer to be smelling essentially popcorn
Just-
in the
right.
air?
Liquid corn.
Or French fries. It's just like
Exactly. Exactly.
Like one of those guessing games, like guess the news story that's made up.
Yeah, right.
Just sounds not good.
I would have guessed the
Plane
Hawaii
that flew
blizzard.
on corn juice. No, that's bullshit. That is bullshit. Wait, what?
you're in a
The
boat
Hawa-
in the
the
middle of
Hawaii
the ocean. All of a
blizzard got
sudden, you
me.
look. I think a Five Jive just flew over me.
Yeah, right. Why does it smell like Chick-fil-A out here? Oh, that's what
They
that
use
is.
peanut oil
They
actually.
use peanut oil. That's right. Yeah.
Wow.
I
See,
can't
so much
remember.
knowledge. So much knowledge here.
But now, according to Lillian
Chris had a
in the
great show.
Twitch chat, she said the flight had the CEO of the airline on there.
It was United, yes.
Oh wow.
That see,
Yeah,
see, you know
that's
what?
one way to make sure your flight gets there.
That man probably makes way too much money, but I respect the fact that he was on the plane. He was like, all right, look, we're gonna do this.
Mm.
And I believe in this so much, I'm getting on the plane.
Yep.
That's what we're gonna do.
Yep.
Oh,
A quick
you
side
sure
note.
about that?
Quick side note. I am looking at Cornhub_Cornhub on Instagram,
Hey.
and I am learning that you have in common with Dolio over there, having met Yo-Yo Ma.
Hey.
Yes.
A true hero. A real one. He's actually so nice, right?
Yeah, he's super nice. We chatted up quite a bit. We got some nice pics. I got a nice little selfie with him where he busted like a gangster pose. He did a little b-boy stance in the huddle. It was
And
Does
Yo
he
Yo,
have bars? Does he secretly have bars? You
maybe.
can't say. You
Yeah, we had a
can't-
nice
We'll
little
find out.
conversation about it because, like, you know how he went to he started off doing like chemical engineering before he went into music.
No, of course he did.
So
Interestingly enough, his real name is actually Jack. They just start calling him Yo Yo because that's how he used to start his verses.
Yeah.
Jack Ma. But he kept that. He'd be like, yo, yo. They're like, all right, man.
Yeah.
That is 37% true.
Yo-Yo Ma, 100% true. Yo-Yo Ma was number 2 on the Billboard Bluegrass chart when Gangstagrass No Time for Enemies was number 1 on the Billboard
Yes.
Bluegrass chart. So
Hey.
we've hung out on the Billboard Bluegrass chart as well.
Right
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
That's right.
I was like, I saw him on the charts and I was like, hey, I tagged him. I was like, I had dinner with that guy.
He came up to Wabanaki and did sunrise. There was how do I say? We're known for like sunrise ceremonies. That's what we do. We like welcome the sun. We get up really early, and that's like our responsibility because we're the first ones to see the sun in all of the continent. That's what Wabanaki means, Dawnland people. And so he came up and did a concert at sunrise with a bunch of Wabanaki folks, and I was there actually doing like journalism. I was covering it and met him, and he was so cute. It was like he came up and like put a blanket around one of our elders. It was so sweet.
Love that.
Mm.
What
Cute shit.
And then he started rapping. That's,
He sparked a cipher right there.
yeah, right.
He was like, all right, who got bars? Wait, did he just say?
Let's get it. Let's get it.
What I think he said?
Sunrise cipher with Yo-Yo Ma.
He's the first person to rap
Bro.
the entire continent. Gotta get up early.
Yes.
Let's get our people on this
Yo-Yo
right
Ma.
now.
Yes.
Bro.
Yes.
We got,
I'm trying to go up there.
yeah.
I'm trying to go up there. I'm trying to do our sunrise cipher. What's up?
Hey,
Our
Nice.
sunrise cipher.
Let's get it. Let's
Yes.
get it.
Down. I'll be
Let's
there.
get it. Live stream that joint as soon as the sun come up. But bam. Let's get it. Ew, that'll be.
I'm down for that.
Gotta get up there.
We
Yup.
should definitely do that. I feel like there's a lot of questions I'm not going to get to ask until we're like touring together on the road in the van.
Mhm.
So looking
Which is
forward to
fun.
that.
That'll be fun.
That'll be great.
Let me know.
All right.
Yeah, this is.
Oh,
this is
boy.
But yeah,
this
so
is a-
and is that where you live these days?
Yeah, I live actually in a town called Cornish, Maine. right now.
Hey.
Sweet.
Consistency.
A little on the nose, but okay.
Yeah, true. Fair enough. Yeah, for now, who knows? I was in New York City until the great Panini hit us all, and now I'm over here.
We call it that always.
I hope that-
Oh man,
I hope y'all do too.
the great panini.
That makes
Oh,
sense because I've never liked paninis. They're just kind of
It's a
unfortunate.
fancy it's a fancy name for a grilled cheese.
But you also don't like Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
You're right,
So,
you're
I don't
right.
know.
It's a
You're right.
fancy grilled cheese.
It's the ciabatta that gets me.
Now now, if you got kids, particularly kids like mine, the first thing you think of when you hear panini is the ball from Chowder. This is telling me that none of you have. Wrench knows what I'm talking about. You know Chowder. You know weird ass panini. See,
Yep.
that's what.
Okay.
This is how
Nope.
you, yeah. He's like, this is how you tell people don't have cable.
In the comments, folks.
Listen.
Anybody.
I'm like,
Get up on your panini. Listen,
Somebody else
Listen.
know what chowder is?
get up on Chowder.
hey,
Chowder is it's one of the most bizarrely hilarious things.
I
on
used to
earth.
eat a lot of chowder.
No, dude, the cartoon Chowder.
No,
Like
I
me when I've
Magnificently
had no
funny.
sleep. Do you know Chowder? Do you know Panini? Anybody?
Magnificent.
Actually, I've eaten chowder with a panini.
All right. Rada.
That's nice. Okay, so panini and chowder as opposed to grilled
That's-
cheese and tomato soup. Okay.
It sounds very cheesy,
That
very
sounds
creamy.
bougie as
Yes,
hell.
it does.
Oh.
Well,
That
it
is-
depends
that
on
is-
what chowder you go. If you go with
that
like
is-
a Maryland chowder,
Hella
Mm.
bougie.
you get the sort of tomato soup grilled cheese combination.
Mm.
That sounds
So,
hella bougie.
speaking
I'm
of
impressed with you.
corn and regional foods and all those things, one of our favorite things about traveling and touring is regional foods. Good, like the
Mm.
best regional
Mm.
foods.
Mhm.
Do you have anything in particular that you'd like to brag on?
Well, I feel like I have to say, because it was obviously very impressive, the spread at Black Pot Festival and Camp. Have you all been to Black Pot?
Hmm.
We have not.
Oh my God, what? Okay, well, I'll just talk it up for a second. It's a cooking Cajun Creole and Zydeco music, cooking and dancing festival. And so it's a week long and all this music and dancing is happening, but it's also a cook-off. And so that entire week they are like cooking and gathering and getting together their gumbos and their jambalayas and their like all of their dishes. And at the end it's I know, it's like a free-for-all and you have to vote. You go and eat all of it and you vote which one is the best.
Oh,
Just watching
Um,
Dolio's face.
Yo, we battling. We
yeah.
going down there.
So
We going down
Dolio
there and
is
battling.
Dolio is from Pensacola, Florida. He's from the Gulf Coast.
Hey, nice. Well, that's the jam. Lafayette, Louisiana.
No, to our booking agent.
yes. Somebody please make note of this now. So we can...
Got it.
Bro, you don't even know how hard I'm gonna go down there talking smack. Like, yo, I don't care what you got. I got Dolio the Sleuth over here. Listen.
It's like,
Yo,
you know all this
I'm-
cast iron I got right here.
Yeah,
I'll be like,
that's
I'll
right.
be your cooking
it's
hype
going
man.
down.
We travel with
I'll be
cast
your
iron.
cooking hype man, bro.
You travel with a cast iron? That's
Yes,
amazing.
Cast iron Dutch oven that has the lid is also like a frying pan essentially. So we basically
Wow.
have two pans that can also be a Dutch oven. Yes.
You got it dialed in.
Very important. Very important.
Mhm.
If we go to Maine, I mean, if we go to Europe, if we're up in the, if we're catching the sunrise, what is there something we should make sure that we eat or drink while we are there?
Yes. I mean, lobster is like classic. People say our lobster is different than other lobster. I don't know why, but people say that. I tend to like only eat lobster where I'm from, so I have nothing to compare it to. All the seafood, the lobster, the mussels, the shrimp. And if you're here in the springtime, if you can get in on some fresh fiddleheads, that's my favorite personally. I love fiddleheads. You should go out and actually like try to harvest some.
Sweet.
Mhm.
Might need to fill some people in on fiddleheads.
People don't know what fiddleheads are? Fiddleheads.
People who
Okay.
don't live near coastal regions would not know what fiddleheads are.
Right. Sorry. They look like a little fiddle scroll. You all are probably familiar with what that looks like, but they're green. And they're actually a kind of fern. Go with someone who's experienced, because if you eat the wrong ones, they'll make you sick. But yeah, they grow near stream beds, like cold streams, and in between like the end of March and the end of April, typically around that time. And you cook them up and you eat them with lots of butter and sometimes lemon or whatever you want to season them with.
Yeah, they kind of work their way into a bar of mine. So, but obscure it. Yeah, unfurl my pedigree like the fern from a frond. I was mostly because I put too many food references in my music. So,
Oh, I love that.
'cause I'm always hungry.
Fair enough.
So,
Speaking of which, it is sweet potato pie season. You go to gangstagrass.com/sweet potato pie. You will get Dolio the Sleuth's total recipe. Look, all right, Wrench,
I'm
thank you.
hungry.
Thank you for the visual.
there you go. Those
There
look,
you go.
That looks really
Lovely.
good.
yeah, but yeah, the Maine lobsters do taste different.
Mm-hmm.
Well, everybody's lobsters taste different than everyone else's. You know, different water. So,
Mm-hmm.
I think
That's
I've,
right.
I've only had fresh caught lobster in Anegada, in the British Virgin Islands, but my family way back is from Maine, so
Nice.
so
My
I
only
know that was a
other
thing.
main food that I would suggest, hard to find probably, but if you haven't had moose meat, that is the truest delicacy. I grew up on moose meat, so like having like beef or like other kinds of like red meat tastes all wrong to me because it's all about moose meat. That's the shit.
Is it different from elk?
I actually haven't had elk, but I probably.
Yeah.
Can you?
I don't know. Yeah, I wonder because moose is like juicy, you know, it's like got that like the fullness and the juiciness, you know, like deer meat can be a little dry, but like moose meat has everything. I don't know about elk.
Juicy
They-
What's
they-
some
they
moose
bulk-
right
they
now?
bulk-
That sounds
They bulk
bonkers.
heavier for the winter
Mm-hmm.
for their fat reserve, so it renders really nicely.
That's right. Man, we could probably talk
That
about some good
sounds-
foods, Dolio.
Sorry.
bonkers, cuz
I eat a lot of critters.
now.
Hell yeah.
I eat a lot of critters. I'm from where I'm from. The slogan is, "Well, eat anything that slows down long enough."
Right on.
So,
I want some moose.
Juicy Moosey.
Yes.
juicy moosey.
Who do I need to see to get me some moose down this way?
That's the new restaurant opening up.
Right. I was gonna say that's my next Instagram handle.
Juicy moosey.
I'm done with corn.
all about moose. We have moved on.
Come to Corn Hub where you can get yourself a double juicy moosey.
Yo, we start a chain. A chain of restaurants called Corn Hub that features moose.
Let's go.
But no corn on the menu at all. Just to confuse the hell out of people.
I don't know about that.
But it says, nah. We just like the name. But it says right there on the logo is a corn cob, but you don't know.
Corn.
Eat the moose and shut up.
Oh no. Ricky Durr in the chat says, moose meat and cornhole.
That sounds like a strange weekend.
It would be a good place to hold like the international cornhole championships
Yes.
at the Corn Hub.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yo, I'm trying to. Oh, dog. All right. Depends on where you. Now, all right. Now, according to Kirby Red Girl, yeah, moose tend to be fatter and richer than elk.
Mhm.
So, okay. All right. Cool. Yeah.
Hey man, it renders nicely.
Yo, I'm about to go. Don't hate me for using Amazon, but if there's anywhere I can find to get me some moose,
You can
I
get
don't
some.
think you find moose on Amazon.
Yeah, I don't
bet
think
you-
Amazon
I bet
is
you
the choice
money
there.
they do.
I don't
Dude.
know
Bet
what the
you
moose that's
money.
available on Amazon.
Dude.
Bet money.
Dude, I can get you. You can I can get you some moose
Yeah. Wish dog.
right down the street from here.
Yeah, see, no, the Wish.com moose would be like wind up being, I don't know, pictures of Bullwinkle or something. I don't need that. I want real official moose.
Oh my god.
Rocky's Moose Nuggets.
Yeah, right. This is not what I ordered, sir. This is not at all what I ordered. Thank you very much. I
We
bet
didn't-
money. Actually,
Jar of elk meat. After some Purple Fiddle show, it was one of the things that was handed to us. But then
yeah,
then it sat in the van in.
forgot about that.
Yeah, we didn't get a chance to enjoy that.
That's tragic.
Lots of things.
You
get
have a
handed
cast
to us
iron
at
ready
Purple
for it and
Fiddle.
everything.
That's
and
right.
Now we do.
Yeah.
That was back before
That
the
was
days
before
of the
that.
cast iron.
Or
Now
the
we
cast
know
iron.
better.
Yes, that's right. We were prepared.
Always be ready.
Yes.
Wow.
That's right. Cast iron and chopsticks. Vitally important.
Chopsticks.
Yes.
Nice.
Absolutely.
I can definitely see the logic of that.
Absolutely.
All right, Amazon blew it.
Oh.
Oh, this is.
Sorry, man.
Go to
it's jerkies.
juicymoosey.com.
It's
Just
various
kidding.
jerkies.
Probably don't
No.
Google that.
No,
Oh,
no. That's not going on my computer. No.
Let's turn on some incognito mode here.
Yeah, right.
Especially not with Cornhub. Just too close.
Too
No.
close. Too
It's too
close.
close.
However,
Like, did you mean?
hold
No.
on now.
No.
Hold on now. I did find a 15-piece game jerky gift pack with alligator, elk, buffalo, kangaroo, ostrich, pheasant, venison, and wild
Whoa.
boar.
No.
Nah, most of those they blend it with other meats and then they press it.
Hold on.
Hey, can
If
I
it's
show
the
you,
one I'm thinking about.
Can I show you all something
Uh,
real quick?
not the thing that we're not talking about.
Not
but
that thing. No, but
You don't
Certainly
get
not
us kicked
Juicy
off.
Moosey.
Don't get us
For-
kicked off of the internet.
look,
Damn.
I'm just saying for $2,500.
What?
What is
okay?
that? What is it?
Nope.
It's available. It's juicymoosey.com.
It's on huge domains. Something tells me it was something else.
Yeah, but before this,
It's
It was
so
something else.
expensive. I need to get a grant.
Yeah.
Yeah, just get a grant and buy it.
just like JOOCY or something.
yo, y'all really
Don't say
did-
it on the internet. Somebody's already looking it up right
Uh,
now.
Rule 33, I think.
Y'all
Right.
really did ignore the fact that in this jerky packet, there's kangaroo.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
alligator and
I
ostrich.
would.
Yeah,
I like
all that
crocodile.
stuff I've heard of.
Crocodile's
I
yummy.
don't know that people are brave enough to murder kangaroos. Because kangaroos are dangerous creatures.
Oh, punchy.
There's a
Uh,
lot of kangaroo in Australia.
Actually,
I mean,
the
like
first
they-
time I had kangaroo
it's-
was right here in Philly.
I had
Yeah,
it in
but that was
Australia.
probably one of the old ones from the zoo.
Hmm.
Oh,
I just
they
it makes me
recycling
sad.
kangaroos at the
Yeah,
Philly
you
Zoo.
know how we do it. We recycle stuff.
Aw, it's sad.
You know, you go to the food court at Philly Zoo.
Philly
You're
Zoo,
basically
yeah.
eating exhibits.
That's horrible. No, see, I thought you were gonna say
We
that,
got
like,
toucan sandwiches.
I thought you were gonna say that like kangaroos are tough and they'll take most people, but not Philly people. So like a kangaroo came to Philly and just like got his ass handed to him.
I mean, you know, that was
And
probably
a
part of it.
cheesesteak.
Hop around and find out.
Wonder what gritty tastes like.
Yo,
What
you
a-
saw the bull that captured the
Real
alligator
gritty.
in the trash can
What?
Wait,
Oh
in
yeah,
Philly?
yeah.
in Florida.
Yeah.
In Florida,
Mhm.
Dude.
yo, it was this alligator like trying to attack. It was outside the dude's house, and he trapped it in his trash can.
Yeah, I saw that, but
That
you have
dude
to,
was from Philly.
but you have to
Wow.
also realize that in Florida, that's like an everyday occurrence. Like,
If he's not throwing it through a drive-through window, I don't want to hear
I
about it.
want to mention a game.
Grinch,
we
that too
played.
is an almost everyday occurrence.
Yeah. So
Like-
we play this game sometimes when we read these news articles, and we play a game called Florida or Ohio. And the way that you win this game, the game is, you know, where did this take place? And you can tell, usually there's an easy tell, if the story involved a dog, it was in Ohio, and if it involved a gator, it was in Florida. So, you know, same thing could have happened in Ohio. It just wouldn't have been a
In the
gator.
game by not being in Florida or Ohio.
I really now hang on. I really thought the dog driving around in circles what turned out to be Florida. Weren't we surprised by that one?
maybe, but that's
Yeah, that
not an
sounds
exception
that
disproves
definitely
the
sounds
rule.
like something that would happen in Florida. Being from Florida, like gators are just everywhere. That is the way you would see raccoons in say Philly, or well, yeah, yeah, gators, snakes. If
Do-
you're in South Florida, peacocks,
Do-
wild hogs.
Do gators get in the trash like a raccoon?
No, you're more likely to find them like if you have a pool or standing water, or if it's like a flood or a storm.
Oh, I think Dolia might have frozen.
Might actually be frozen.
It's
Yeah.
the the alligators heard him talking. They shut down the feed.
Sorry. Yo, sorry. I think the Chamber of Commerce of Florida was like, "Yo, stop him now!"
Shut your mouth.
I was like,
You talking all that smack.
"No." I mean, I just remember one of the earliest memories I had as a kid was, seeing my mother kill a snake in the driveway, because there's critters everywhere. You just kind of get used to it.
Critters.
Hey. We moved into their homes, not the other way around.
To bring things full circle, yes, a lot of moving into other people's homes.
Right.
Yeah, actually, maybe back to that point. Is there with the value of just like awareness and consciousness, is there? I think we've probably asked this already, but is there like one thing that you'd like people, non-native people specifically, to be more aware of in a different way, or just?
Yeah, okay. I think something that might sum up a lot of the things is a concept I'll introduce. I introduced this concept in one of my articles, sort of nonchalantly. It's called settler common sense. And settler common sense is like it's a whole epistemology, a way of thinking and understanding the world that is based in colonizing legacy, right? And colonizer entitlement. And it encompasses this sort of idea that America and the way that things are here today are natural and inevitable, right? This idea that America has always been here, for instance, right? Or a capitalist colonial system is a natural system, and people treating each other the way they do in a capitalist colonial system is human nature. All of this comes together in the concept of settler common sense. And more, but I'll say that much and you can look into it yourselves.
Settler common sense is the greatest phrase I've ever heard in my life.
It changed my life.
That's so bonkers.
I definitely did not come up with it.
That is so bonkers.
All right.
Yo.
Like that. Wrench, how does that grab you?
Yeah, it is. It's always interesting to deconstruct the idea of what to some people is like the air they breathe is like, of course, this is common sense, and then be like, look bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, I mean, when you're talking about like the racialized music genres, that's one of the things that we find. It's like, it just feels like such common sense to people that there's in this country that there's black music and white music.
Mm-hmm.
And then like you look at the history and you just find out how much was constructed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And people think Indian music is just people with a hand drum or a rattle, right?
Right, and then they glom what was, literally hundreds of separate nation states into like one, monolithic culture.
Yeah, Indians. But, but that's not.
Nope.
Yep. Yes, it is.
I get people like messaging me being like, I love the Native American culture, or like, I love the Native American language. I'm like, you sound so dumb.
Wait, the Native American language? Wow.
Yeah.
That's like
wow.
yeah, that's like
I
what is
love
it?
white language.
Yeah.
That's a thing. Ooh, boy.
Sometimes like fetishize it like, oh, like there's something, that was like so nice and peaceful and pure or something. And it's like you kind of need to be like, yeah, but like natives are assholes too. It's not like they're people.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Mm-hmm.
magical.
Right.
Like people are people. Everybody's people.
Yeah, I think that's such a big thing. Like anytime someone just claims indigeneity, steps forward and says, I'm this, you're met with whoever you're talking to's like entire fantasy of what they think an Indian is supposed to be and look like and act like and sound like and whatever and what time period we're supposed to be from, right? And it's definitely it's really like the reluctance to recognize what we always have said and have been saying, right? We're nations, we're different peoples, we're whatever. But I think the nation hunt thing is really something that is lost on people because through these stereotypes, right? Like if you think of a racialized sort of like periodized native person, right? You think of like a certain set of like a headdress or whatever, and they're like bronze colored and all the things, right? But you're like, if you're a nation, that means you naturalize people, you bring people into your nation. And so actually everyone in the Wabanaki Nation is all different kinds of shades and colors and dresses all kinds of different ways and speaks different languages sometimes. Wabanaki people speak at least 3 languages, right? My reservation, most people speak French, and some people speak Abenaki, and some people speak only English, right? And like the Wabanaki Nations all have different dialects. It's like, it's just such a huge picture, and people just really whittle it down. So anyway.
Desimplify.
Mm-hmm.
Desimplification would be a thing, right? You can oversimplify or you can desimplify. Maybe it's more complicated than you were thinking. Like, it's not just ethnic food.
Yeah. Love that one.
yeah, that's one of my favorites too.
I put that right up there with colored.
Wow.
The new phrase, I don't know if you guys have, somebody made a video and it's like a viral phrase now, like something LGBT happened to me.
It's that wait.
Maybe they were trying to say legit and they misspelled it.
I don't autocorrect.
Something legit happened to me, It did. It really did happen. Yeah, it really happened.
Say the B is silent, but then that's contributing to bisexual erasure, which. Yeah.
Not funny.
Gosh.
Real thing.
Yeah, totally real.
Yeah.
Thing.
Real thing.
Yeah, I mean, and erasure, like, that just sort of brings it back again, like, so much of this stuff. Well, so, I mean, and my question was about, awareness, like, what's something that people should be aware of, but I would imagine, like, awareness is just, like, the very, very, very basic first step, right? Like, great, awareness. Good job, people are aware, but, like, obviously, there would need to be more than, like, what's next?
Yeah. Well, like, yeah. Awareness. I mean, I don't know. Is that a question? What's next?
Yeah.
So much.
It's a real hard question. What you got?
Yeah.
I mean, if we need enough awareness to get to the point of figuring out what's next, that's also very reasonable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Being called on to answer for
Mm-hmm.
all Native people. Go.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'll say, like, because we're talking about settler common sense, right? And this idea, like, if I'm to, like, pop that balloon and be like, actually, none of this land was ever consensually given away, right? This is the land that created us. Our languages were taught to us by this land. All of our creation stories come from the precise characteristics of each indigenous land right here. And so if I were to say that, that might, like, make people try to be aware, right? And continuing on that sort of framework or that sort of reality check. Sorry, my connection is unstable. Hopefully you can still hear me. There is a movement happening right now called the Land Back Movement, where settlers are actually returning land to Indigenous people. It's happening. I'm part of it. I started a nonprofit land trust, and we have been returned land recently, which is fucking dope. And that's happening. So just to pop that balloon even further, you know, people are like realizing the injustices of this place. Some people want to do something about it, or just like appease their own white guilt, which is like fine if it means the land is coming back to us, and it is. So, oh shit, I'm frozen. I think.
No, we're good. We got your voice back. We got you.
Okay.
We got you. And that's
I caught that land back movement.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
Can people get more information about that at your website as well?
Uh-oh.
I will take that as a
yes.
as a yes. Yes, excellent. So the website
Yes,
is in the chats, whether you're on Twitch or Facebook or YouTube. That is there, and definitely Google settler common sense and learn more and go from there.
One last thing I did want to ask you about. I thought for a second you were going to get to it, but there's a word that you use in your writing, rematriation.
Mm-hmm.
That I would love for you to just sort of give people like the basic introduction to that concept.
Yeah, definitely related to land back. Basically, if I can summarize it, and please tell me if you can't hear me anymore.
No, we hear you. You're loud and clear. You're doing great.
If I can summarize it, the original injustice that has occurred here in this land is that colonizers severed our relationship with our first mother, right? The earth, the land that birthed us. And through the process of colonialism, we were our traditions and practices were disrupted, right? Especially our like earth caretaking practices and knowledge was disrupted. Our language speaking, our matriarchal societies, ways of organizing and doing diplomacy, like our women leaders, you know, that was all attacked through colonial patriarchy. And rematriation is the sort of not just a return to those ways, but also like a revolution forward and like rebirthing of those traditions. You know, some have been have adapted, I guess you could say, you know, and incorporated new knowledges, because we're not just, you know, in the past like people like to think, right? But rematriation is the return of the land as well as the return of the teachings and the practices and the traditions, and that's what land back is about. You know, it's those are interrelated concepts, I would say, and it's a women's led, not exclusively, but largely women's led movement of like earth defense. Yeah.
Great question, Dando.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah.
And the nonprofit that I started with some Wabanaki folks is it's a women's led sort of environmental protection thing, and the website for that is called Bombazine Land Trust. I don't know if you want to link that, but it's on my website too.
Into the chat as well.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
You're muted, Rand.
You said something that struck me as a little funny a while back when you were talking about people's preconceptions, one of which being like what time you're from.
Mm-hmm.
And that just is so wild. Like, how does that come across? Please tell me somebody's asked you what time period you're from.
I wish that would be at least funny.
Oh my God. You're like, wait, what year is this? Who is the president?
Oh my God. Yeah, no, but I've had people be like, oh, like there's no like there's no native people here anymore. That was too long ago. You know, I'm like, oh, it's.
That's not.
I'm here. I'm talking to you.
That's not how
Yeah.
that works. That's not.
No.
So, and now here's my question, because I would imagine this is probably going to be the hardest part about the idea of repatriation, right?
Mhm.
How do you convince the most colonizer dudes of that concept that it is important and worth doing? Like, it's hard enough to convince people that they might need a shot for a thing that's killing millions of people. How do you convince people that their entire way of life and the way that it was born might not be the best for everybody else? And not only that, but they should have to change it. Like, how does that happen? Because that sounds tough.
It's a tall order. Yeah, yeah. And honestly, I think, thank you for that question. I think that you can't convince everyone, in theory, by just explaining to them, right? But I think, the world is facing a lot of challenges, particularly climate change, right? And these pandemics are only going to increase in time as more diseases get released from the ice and shit like that, like that's coming. And I think that returning to and sort of revitalizing the older ways that are more in balance is going to show people like that, and they'll either like keep resisting or they'll jump on board. But I think that a lot of people already are starting to realize that Indigenous folks have been leaders and been keepers of that kind of balance all along, and we still have that knowledge, and we're still here, and we've always been fighting for justice, and the things that the world really needs right now. So maybe we won't be able to convince everyone through talking to them, but maybe we'll convince them by showing them. And I think that a really good example of that right now locally is there's a lot of pollution in Maine because it is historically like very intense, like a paper production state. So like logging was really huge, and that created a lot of this really specific kind of chemicals, like PFAS and PFOS. I always forget how to say that. But basically they've like leaked into the water system. They've been used, the state like sponsored a program where people were using PFAS and PFAS sludge from paper mills to spread it over agricultural fields as fertilizer. They told people that that was a fertilizer for like just bonkers shit. And so all these like old farmer types, right? A lot of these like intense sort of colonial family types, not all farmers are that way, but yeah, are now realizing that they've been consuming and like growing and participating in this like really intense mass contamination. And Indigenous folks here, whoopsies, Indigenous here I've been
like
talking about. Yep. And it is like it's really scary, the level of these chemicals that are in people's bodies and in the food and in the deer. Now they just did a recall of all the deer that people harvested in a like really big area in Maine, being like, don't feed this to your family. If you already did, too late, but it's really bad for you, but anyway, so like it's going to affect everyone, every kind of person, right? And Indigenous folks have been talking about the need to clean this up, and we know how. Growing hemp, specifically hemp, is a plant that takes that kind of chemical, has been proven to take that kind of chemical out of the soil and other toxic chemicals. Winona LaDuke is like an amazing Ojibwe activist, and she's been like really big on the hempire idea. And I'm like, okay, case in point, like you're affected, we've got the answers, let's do this. Or as we say, studus.
Just out in the other coast, out in the west, and driving by all these wildfires that are out of control, and it's another example I've been hearing about a lot is they're turning to native firefighters for the answers of, well, what if we just go back to maintaining the lands like we used to, and then the fires will be more balanced and more under control.
It's almost like we've been saying the same shit the whole time. Almost like that.
Like that.
What do you mean, like the way I told y'all to? Okay.
You know,
You
we
mean
didn't
like
have
the
to
way-
do like 300 years of this bullshit. We could have
Right,
just skipped to this.
You mean like the way my grandfather told you how? You mean like the way my great grandmother had told you? All right, whatever. Y'all go ahead.
Right.
You'll get to it.
Yeah, it's like when you see like whole beachfront communities getting washed away, and you're just like, you know, there's a reason why people didn't have housing built there.
Uh-huh.
Because
Yeah, so
every
as you're
year,
saying,
about
it's-
5 or 6 of these mega storms are going to come through here.
That's right.
People are gonna figure this out based on, you know, if nothing else, their own self-interest, or even like maybe a little bit of white guilt or whatever it is, but whatever gets people to the table, basically.
I had to learn when I was a kid from the movie Poltergeist. They told us. Graveyards.
I've never seen that movie. We can make a movie night of it.
No,
That's not on the top of the list of what
that
you
is not. That's not. Listen, I'm 48 years old. I watched that movie one time. I was like, nope, I'm good. No,
I don't know.
nope,
What I
nope.
find is that horror movies from those days, if I watch them now, they're comedies.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Not that one. No.
I don't know. It
Still
is kind of
scary.
funny when you watch it.
Dog, I watched this thing when I was 8 years old, man. Told you my mother was crazy. She had me watching Poltergeist and Cujo and The Thing. I'm sitting
Dude.
like,
The bad guy in that movie, in the Poltergeist movie, the guy, the little shriveled up guy inside the TV, ended up being governor of Florida.
in the movie.
Well, not
In
the
real
literal
life?
guy, but Rick Scott looks exactly like that guy.
he does though. He does though. Yeah, you're right.
That's why, like, I was like, no, I can't vote for that dude.
Oh,
Mm-mm.
you just removed all- I am
Well,
no
after what he
longer
did to
afraid-
Carol Ann, nope.
I'm no longer afraid of Poltergeist now. Wow. Although the little clown doll, nah, bro. Nope. Nah, nope. 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 That thing was terrifying beforehand, and then no, nope. Now I gotta go watch some cartoons to get that out of my brain.
That's right. And Google rematriation and Google settler common sense. And check out Molly's website. We've linked all that in the chat. We've linked landback.org and Bomazineland Trust. Did I say that right? .org.
Bombazine.
Bombazine. Thank you. Bombazine Land Trust. .org. We have all of this linked in the chats. So check it out and, you know, further your own education. And, you know, as Rusty says in the chat, don't compound the errors. Don't, you know, look for ways to make it better rather than the same or worse. Every one of us can do that. Molly, thank you so much. Thank you. What else? What would you like to leave us with?
I was just gonna. This is not deep at all. I was just gonna say you could also buy a Lula Wiles record.
There you go.
Yes.
Yes,
Absolutely.
of course.
Do all of that.
Most definitely.
Listen,
Support
shoot
the
your shot,
artist.
Lula Wiles plans for 2022.
No plans, actually. I think we're all trying to do a little bit of our own thing.
All right. Then
Yeah.
good news as well, because that's a bunch of good things.
I'm excited. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good year. Thank you guys so much for having me. It's been so fun talking to all of you. I'm really glad to meet most of you. I have only obviously met Wrench before, so thanks.
Thank you for joining this madcap adventure.
Yeah.
Y'all are fun.
Thank you so
Everybody for
much.
tuning in on the Twitch and Facebook and YouTube, and for joining in on this conversation. There's been some cool conversations going on in the chats as well. And we just appreciate having the chance to get these discussions going with everybody.
That's right.
Thanks for not talking about the thing that we're still not talking about.
Still not talking about it. Thanks, everybody. And be sure to go to gangstagrass.com and check out the new Christmas music. If you go to gangstagrass.com/holidays, you will get to the new Chipmunk song. If you go to our Bandcamp, you will get to the brand new Bandcamp exclusive Santa's Favorite.
Oh yeah.
Yep. There's a lot out there for you right now.
Shout out to all the Barnstormers.
The Barnstormers had the first version of the Chipmunk song a year ago.
That's right.
That's right. But this is a new version.
Give us about 2 hours to get the Juicy Moosey website up, and then we'll go to that.
Well, we're gonna need to set as a stretch goal for the crowdfunders. If you can get us $2,500 right now, we will lock down juicymoosey.com.
JuicyMoosey.com.
Send in that $2,500 so we can wait it.
Paper.
Good night, everybody.
Wait a minute.
Night, John.
That paper.
Wait,
Juicy
stay
Moosey.
stay on for a second after we go off.
Oh yeah.
Juicy
Cut the feed.